Assalamu alaikum class. Today we have a revision session of your chapter number 4 and 5. Today we will discuss about your chapter number 4 and 5, what we have learned into these chapters. The first chapter we are going to discuss is your chapter number 4, that is the page number 35 on your textbook, that is how important was the work of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan to the Pakistan development movement in the 19th century. We have already learned about everything about this chapter, that what was Sir Syed's contribution to the education, politics and religion, his two-nation theory and Hindi-Urdu controversy, how successful was his Aligarh movement. During this lecture, we will discuss about the main key points of this chapter. The first key point is the early biographical details of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. He was born on October 1817 in Delhi, India. Sir Syed's father was Mir Muttaqi. He died when Sir Syed was 21 years of his age. His family was highly regarded by Mughal dynasty. In 1876, he retired from his work and concentrated on running the college and devote himself to improving the conditions of Muslims through education. He died on 27th of March 1989. Sir Syed's contribution to the education of Muslims and revitalism of their national consciousness, his social and political theory and its origins. The importance of the relations between the British and Muslim communities. While studying this chapter, we have discussed about how important was the relationship between the British and Muslim community. Sir Syed believed that the conditions of the Muslim in the subcontinent can be improved if the relation with the British were improved and Muslim gained higher quality education. If the Muslim get higher quality education, the two obstacles that were highly involved or intermingled with in the good relation with the British community or British Raj. The British had to put entire responsibility of war of independence in 1857 on Muslims. As a result, they carried out policies of repression against the Muslims. And after 1857, Sir Syed wanted to ensure that this false view was corrected. There was deep-seated resentment of British among many in the Muslims community. After that, we have the convincing British. Sir Syed believed that British have to understand that the Muslims were not only responsible for the revolt of India that was done in the 1857. Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs, all three of them, and minorities of the subcontinent are all involved during this revolt. It was totally wrong to blame Muslim for this revolt only. Sir Syed wrote The Loyal Mohammedans of India. In this work, he defended the Muslims from British accusation that they were disloyal. He gave a detailed account of loyal services which Muslims had given and named various Muslims who had shown particular loyalty to the British. Sir Syed wrote a pamphlet called Essay on the Causes of Indian Revolt. In this, he pointed out the main reasons of the uprising were the lack of representation of Indians in the government of the country, the forcible conversion of Muslims to Christianity, the poor management of the Indian army. The pamphlet was circulated free among the British officials in India and was sent to the members of parliament in England. And the next is convincing the Muslims. In this, we have learned that Sir Syed was aware that the British knew very little about Muslims. Indeed, on a visit to England, he was so offended by the English book on the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that he immediately wrote his own work correcting the many errors. It was also true that, however, that the Muslims in the India knew very little about the Christianity. He tried to overcome by writing Tabayyun Kalam, in which he pointed out the similarities between the Islam and Christianity, encouraging the growth of Western education. In this section, we have learned that the Sir Syed wanted that the Muslims should get the best education to better their conditions in the subcontinent. As we have seen that after 1857, the Muslim community was subjected to the discrimination as the hands of British, whilst other groups were supported. The Hindus, for example, they decided that they should work with the British, so they were keen to learn English language and acquired a British education in the subcontinent. This helped them to gain employment and to make progress in the society. As Muslims believe that the English speaking English or the use of English language is against the Muslim Sharia. So, the Hindu movement gained strength as more and more Hindus received education in the new schools, colleges, and universities which were springing up. This increased confidence among Hindus also led them to view Muslims with an increasing lack of respect. Political awareness. Sir Syed was determined to improve the status of Muslim community by writing his essay on the causes of the Indian revolt and the loyal Mohammedan of India. He had shown a desire to re-establish good relationships between British and Muslims. He hoped that this would lead to greater opportunities for Muslims. This earned him a reputation of being too moderate and too British, but in fact Sir Syed realized that the British were too powerful to overthrow, that the Muslims would gain more by cooperating with them. However, Sir Syed soon realized that the Hindus were not keen on working with Muslims, and this led him to conclusion that the two groups could not work together. And the next is Indian National Congress. In 1885, the Indian National Congress was formed. The British saw this body as means by which they could hear the views of the educated elite in the Indian society. The Congress said that it would represent the views of all the communities within India, regardless of their religion. However, it soon became apparent that the Congress was a Hindu-dominated body which was working to establish the Hindu supremacy over the Muslims. And the next is the language. So Syed believed that Congress was working in the interest of Hindus and a way which was harmful to the Muslim community. Further causes of concern of Sir Syed was the Hindi-Urdu controversy 1867. The Hindus demanded that Hindi should be made the next official language in place of Urdu, which had become the official language in 1825. It was until after his death and Hindi became the second language. But the Hindu opposition to Urdu was another factor guiding Sir Syed Ahmad Khan towards the two-nation theory. Importance. He worked tirelessly to restore relations with the British, particularly after the War of Independence. Sir Syed played a major part in bringing about Muslims' revival. Linked to Muslim revival was greater political awareness as Hindus sought to take advantage of the poor relations between the Muslims and the British. Moving to the next chapter, that is your chapter number 5. To what extent have Urdu and regional languages contributed to the cultural development of Pakistan? During this lecture, we have discussed about the different regional languages of Pakistan and the history of the languages, introduction of the language Urdu and Urdu as a national language, and other regional languages of Pakistan. What is language? Language is extremely important in the development of any state or national culture. The acceptance of one single language as the national language helps bring about uniformity and a cultural identity by binding a people together. In Pakistan, many languages are spoken, but the national language is Urdu. It is a relatively new language, and over time, Muslims in the subcontinent have spoken a wide variety of languages. Since Islam came to the subcontinent, there have been many different languages used, that is, Arabic, Turkish, Persian, and the mixture of all these languages is called Urdu. When the state of Pakistan was set up, its constitution stated that Urdu was the national language. It was to be the symbol of the unity between the different regions of the country. Despite this opposition, Urdu survived after independence became the national language. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah was keen to promote Urdu as he saw it as an important unifying force in the new country. It was to be the link language for all the provinces to provide for the cultural and educational needs of the people and for the unity of purpose among the various sections of the society. Next is Sindhi language. Compared with Urdu, Sindhi is an older language which is spoken in the province of Sindh, and documentaries show that it was far back as 12th century. It was spoken in the same time as it is today. In 1948, the Sindhi Literary Board was set up, and this has printed many books and magazines in Sindhi. Amongst important Sindhi authors are Peer Ali Muhammad Rashidi, Fakir Nabi Books, and G. Alana. Moving further, we have Balochi language. Balochi language is spoken in Balochistan, the largest of Pakistan's province. Through the other languages such as Persian and Balochi are also spoken in this province. There are two main kinds of Balochi, that is Sulmanki and Makrani. The Balochi language was brought to Balochistan by tribes which migrated from the northwest Iran. There were nomadic peoples who really settled in any one place for long periods of time. Then here it comes the Punjabi language. Punjabi is a language spoken in the most populous of Pakistan province, the Punjab. Through it is also spoken in another areas such as Azad Kashmir and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It is an easily understood language which has given various different names throughout history. For example, it has been referred as Masudi, Al Hindi, and Hindko. It is taught that 1080 Hafiz Warkuddar was the first person to have used in the term Punjabi to describe the language. Then it comes the Pashto. Pashto is a language spoken by the people of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the northern areas of Balochistan. Like the most languages, it has heavily influenced by the other languages such as Arabic, Persian, and Greek. The first period dates are from around the 2nd to the 13th century, the first Pashto poet of this period was Amir Khan Pehwan. Through the most famous was Bayazid Ansari. His most famous book was Khairul Bain, was probably the first book on Sufism in Pashto literature. This is all for today, and have a best luck to you, all of you guys, for your midterm exam or midterm semester test. Hope you give your best. Fi Amanillah.